What up, Unstoppable Revolters? B-Mac at the Grove of Anaheim once again. I'm shouting because I can barely hear myself. I'm inside listening to the most extreme tour out there, the Summer Slaughter Tour. And I'm speaking with two members of one of the bands called Rings of Saturn. They are known as the Alien Core Group, who makes us wonder, are we really alone out there? And do they headbang at the same time? So please give a big warm welcome to guitar player Miles Baker and drummer Aaron. What's up, guys?
Hey man, how you doing?
That was the best introduction I've ever heard in my life. I am so excited about
and
this.
drummer Aaron.
No, that was
seriously
the best. That was fucking awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting if you were the drummer or the bass player. My bad.
Drummer. That's all right, man.
Oh, that was good, dude.
Oh, no problem. Now, I know you guys are like the new guys in the group, but do you know where Rings of Saturn comes from? Did the leader make that name in terms of the actual Rings of Saturn?
A while ago, when the band was sort of formed, Luke was, I'm pretty sure he was with a buddy, maybe not, but he's always been super into video games and stuff like that. And came up with something that just sort of sounded alien-esque, kind of like what the band sound is now. And like I said, I'm pretty sure he was with a buddy, and his buddy might have been the one to come up with it, and just said, "Hey, Rings of Saturn, that sounds cool, that sounds catchy." I don't think it has anything to do with, the actual rings and any kind of technical scientific stuff behind it. It's just a cool, catchy name that makes you instantly think of aliens.
Why aliens? Why write songs about aliens? I don't know a lot of metal bands who do that.
I just like writing the music. I don't know. I mean, I do have a alien tattoo, but that's
Yeah, you got a big green one right
I do,
there.
Yeah. But as far as the lyrical content, that's not really my realm of what I do in the band. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I said in the last answer to the previous question, it just, Luke was super into aliens and video game type stuff, and they came up with a guitar sound with the harmony pedal, whatever, that sort of, like I said, sounds alien-esque, kind of like the old school alien, video games or movies and UFO type stuff. And the name just kind of stuck, and it was a cool concept to go off of. You can get immersed in the alien sort of lore and theme as far as the artwork and the lyrics and the sounds and things like that. So yeah, it was, it's just a cool novelty that the band has.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear. Now, you guys joined the group around 2014, around the same time, right?
A year apart.
A year apart, yeah. You were late 13, and I was late 14.
I joined early January 2014. He joined at Christmas of the same year, so 12 months apart.
What attracted you guys to this group?
Years ago, when I think I was like 17, when I was in high school, my buddy had known the band. I didn't know the band, but my buddy had seen that they needed a drummer, and he recommended me to do it. So I auditioned, and I got in talking with Lucas about joining the band. I didn't make it that time. Somebody else did, but then they went through another couple of drummers, and a couple of years later, he hit me up again to ask me to join. And at that time, I guess I was a little more up to par with doing it. So that's how that had happened. And then I think Miles had met Lucas online sort of through me knowing him, and then Lucas had come to stay at Miles' house one time. They became friends, they jammed, talked on the phone, stuff like that. And then when it came time to need another guitar player, Miles was the runner-up.
Yeah, that was it. That was kind of how it worked, is who you know kind of thing. And I was a fan of the band when I was younger too. I remember seeing them play actually Summer Slaughter. Like, what year was that, 2012 or something?
Yeah, I think, no, 2013, yeah, you saw him.
Yeah, I went to that
I didn't
show.
see it. I played with them in Florida, though, with Abiotic.
There we go.
But I don't think I got to see this set, because it was right after us. Yeah.
So, now you got this new album out, and it's called, it's kind of weird to pronounce, but it's called Oltu Ula?
Oltu Ula, yeah.
What does that mean, Oltu Ula?
It means time immemorial.
Time and immemorial?
Time immemorial.
Immemorial, okay. All right. Tell us a little bit about what it was like working on this record.
It was a lot of fun, man. I mean, it was cool. We'd obviously, we figured out we were going to be signing with Nuclear Blast, and that they needed a record, submitted to them. Like, that's how that works. And so we were on tour with Carnifex, Thyroid's Murder at the time. And we found that out, and then we got the deadline, so we were out on tour with them, and then came home. I was home for like 5 days, and started writing right away. I had some ideas already kind of in my head for stuff, and then so yeah, went out 5 days after a 2.5 month tour, got like half the album written, and then we got it wrapped up within the month, I think, and then tracking. It was all said and done. I think minus there was like one song I had from high school, Unhallowed, the little 1 minute instrumental thing, but aside from that, it was about a month and a half, 2 months from writing to recording. But then the mixing and mastering process took a little bit longer. But it was a lot of hard work, a lot of fun. It was a lot of everything you would expect in writing an album.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, Miles, you guys had just joined Nuclear Blast, and I'm sure you got some offers from other labels, if you guys did. But what attracted you guys to Nuclear Blast? Why go with them?
Well, I think there's a lot of different aspects to look at that. One aspect that stands out to me is the people who work there. It's not a very suit and tie company. You know, I've worked with not other record labels, but you know, other companies and you know, guitar companies, whatever. Not Schecter Guitars. I'm not talking about that, but any company in general. You see a lot of like suit and tie. You know, real cut and dry business people. And Nuclear is a lot more down to earth. Really cool. They you know, it's not like some really strange business environment. Obviously, it is about the business, but the whole environment, the feel of the environment is not that. And obviously we had a good contract with them. So that was kind of what drew us to them among other labels. We had, you know, our own creativity wasn't hindered by anything. You know, some labels like to have restrictions or, you know, input on what you write, and that wasn't something we wanted, obviously. So
yeah, you know, the label that Prince used to be part of, they always wanted input in what they wanted from him, and so what he did was he just put down a new album every year just till they let him go. That was his like whole plan. It's like, oh, I'm going to give you not what you want, and you're going to let me go.
I'm going to give you more than what you want. Yeah, that's not the thing with Nuclear. We have a good relationship, and all the people that we deal with have been really cool. You know, meeting from the owner down to our publicist, Kristen, every single person is extremely cool, and that's a very important thing to have when in a relationship with someone like a record label or a company you work with.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Because the way I feel it is, if you have yourself a really good, positive work and personal relationship with the people who are helping you put out the album, then you got a recipe for success. If you guys butt heads all the time, you're not going to get anything done.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that, you know, people do go the extra mile to help you out for, or you know, sending you a text message with a heads up, or you know, whatever it is, it's really good in any aspect of life to have a good relationship with anyone you're working with, as a friendship, as a business partner, or whatever it might be. Being friends with someone is always better than not. So.
Well, you got some pretty weird names, but from what I've heard in the room so far, pretty stellar songs from Unhallowed, Harvest, Prognosis Confirmed.
Yeah, man.
Where do all these ideas come from?
As far as the lyrics and titles and stuff, like we said before, Miles and I don't have anything to do with the titles or the lyrics. It's just, you know, things to keep on the continuation of the whole alien theme. From album to album, there are different themes that sort of build upon each other. It's not always the same story or same idea each album, but it is fixed around, you know, a centralized concept, which is aliens. But yeah, as far as the names go, that's something that our singer comes up with.
Ian.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And this is his second album with you guys, right?
Third,
yeah. His first was Dingier, then Lugal, and then now this is the third one.
Yeah. It sounds like he just keeps getting better with each new record. I mean, personally, I haven't heard the old stuff just yet. I'm going to. But how has he been like the singer you guys have always been wanting to work with?
He was in the band before I joined, so I can't quite say yes to that, although he is a great vocalist for this genre and what he does. I think he's very good at it, and I think a lot of people would desire to have him in their bands, but it is nice that we have him in ours, because a lot of people look up to his vocals, and
yeah, he's great. We just can't say, you know, that he's the vocalist we had necessarily been looking before, because since, you know, he was in the band before us, we weren't the ones doing the looking.
Yeah, we literally can't.
Yeah. So that's not a question for us. But yeah, he is awesome to work with, and he's a fantastic vocalist. He's regarded as one of the best in the scene. So it's cool to be with somebody who is so good.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Otu Ola just got released. What is the fan reaction been like so far?
I think it's really positive. Before it had come out, and even now there are some mixed feelings from some people, but for the most part it's extremely good. I've only seen a handful of comments where people say that they don't like it or they're disappointed, but as far as the majority goes, it's done really well, and that reflects obviously in the album sales and the reception and the social media traffic we get, the charting, etc., etc. It's done really well, and what we wanted to do, what every band wants to do, that we say in a lot of interviews we do, is you want to keep your fan base happy and not have them drop you, but at the same time be able to gain a whole new group of fans that maybe wouldn't like your band based on your previous efforts. And so that's what I think we did with this album. All of our fans are still super happy with Old Tuala, but we've brought in the possibility of a lot of new fans because our music is just a little bit different.
And different's always good.
Yeah.
Well, not always good, but it's always good to listen, check out first.
Yeah, exactly.
So after the Summer Slaughter tour is over, where are you guys gonna go from here? You got tour plans in Europe?
We have tour plans, but we can't say because none of them are announced yet. So you'll know very soon.
We do have Ozfest though.
Oh yeah. We're playing Ozfest. That is
November
announced.
4th, I believe.
Yep.
And you get to play in front of Ozzy. That's like every.
That would be very cool if he did in fact watch.
Yeah,
that set.
that'd be awesome.
I'm not banking on it, but that would be quite awesome.
But we are playing with Ozzy, and I'm gonna watch him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him coming out to sing one of these songs? He'd be like,
just on stage.
He'd be like, what is this bullshit? Saturn!
Oh my
it's
God,
not my stuff.
Jeez, that'd be funny.
I'd be okay with that.
All right, I got a couple more questions for you guys. Which bands or artists have influenced you guys as musicians?
Me personally, there's a lot, but if I have to name a couple, one would be Children of Bodom, bands like Nightwish, Arsis, like some of the tech death guys, Obscura. I mean, it could go on. It's a very long list, but that's my short list.
Okay.
I'm super into rock music. When I was growing up, I was really into old classic rock and old prog, 70s prog bands like Yes, Pink Floyd, Genesis, stuff like that.
Old school Rush.
Yeah. Old school stuff like that. When I was growing up, my dad introduced me to a lot of bands like Symphony X, Dream Theater, so I was into that sort of like prog metal. And then later on, I got into Opeth, and that was my sort of introduction to like heavy screaming music like Opeth and Lamb of God. And then the Faceless actually was like one of the first like death metal bands that I had heard. And then aside from that though, a lot of bands that I've been listening to for years now are bands like the Mars Volta, the Deer Hunter, it's a band called Bad Sons, Don Broco, Tides of Man. So yeah, a lot of music from a lot of different spectrums for sure. It's kind of shaped what I like to play on the kit.
That's cool. I grew up mainly on classic rock too. That was my first educational experience with rock and roll. And then I grew up to Metallica, Megadeth, mostly thrasher and group metal stuff. That's the stuff that I really identify with.
That's cool, man.
So final question, and this is one I always ask to my artists, and sometimes it stumps them. So let's see if I can get you guys. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
I guarantee you're not ready. You're not ready. Who do you prefer? The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
The Beatles, that's so easy.
100%, that is not stumped, yeah.
The Beatles, like,
the Beatles
100%,
down, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes people have to think, oh, what do I want,
No, the Beatles is easy.
Yeah,
for
Beatles
me.
is, I like the Beatles a lot. So.
That's cool. I like the Beatles as well, but I prefer the Stones because I was more into the blues rock era.
Right.
They're very bad boy, and I just love their lyrical content. Don't get me wrong, the Beatles wrote some great songs. Mm-hmm. But plus, I think another thing is that my grandfather, who's a pastor, actually opened for the Rolling Stones back in the 60s.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, he was opening up for a state fair, and there was a story behind how he would change shirts each time, and the band, they did like 3 or 4 shows that night, and they kept wearing the same stuff. In the last show of the evening, they were asked to like put on new clothes because they were stinking up the joint. They said sure, and they just switched clothes with each other, and they went out there with each other's shirts.
Nice.
Wow, nuts, dude. Yeah, I think with the Beatles, I mean they're so influential on people, and they have so many different eras of sounds. That's something I like about them a whole lot. Is that they had that sort of boy band rock feel when they first started out, and then they got into more trippy stuff like Sgt. Pepper, and then Abbey Road was totally different from that. You know, they're just like a very diverse band and a very cool, influential band. I love the sounds they have. I love, you know, bands that have different primary vocalists. You know, like Pink Floyd, for example, they have Gilmour and Roger Waters, and then obviously the Beatles have Paul and John. Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're more mature of a band, whereas Rolling Stones is just like super fun, rip it, which nothing wrong with that, but I just prefer the Beatles.
Hey, we all got a preference.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, thank you so much for the interview. I know it's a busy tour, but it's always great to talk to somebody who's really into this music.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
This was BMAC with members of Rings of Saturn, Miles Baker and Aaron S. Be sure to go get their new album, Ultu Ola by Nuclear Blast, which is out in stores right now. And be sure to go check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for news updates and when they will come to a city near you. And what can I say? You're going to go home deaf after listening to guys like this. I know I am.
Right on, dude.
Thank you, man.
As Stone